In February 2022, 100 million people watched the Super Bowl. And during it, a comedian looked into the camera and mocked anyone foolish enough to miss the next big thing. The ad was for a cryptocurrency exchange called FTX. The message was simple: don't be the idiot who sits this one out. Trust us. At that moment, FTX was valued at $32 billion. Its founder, a 29-year-old in cargo shorts and a t-shirt, was worth around $26 billion on paper, and was being called the John Pierpont Morgan of crypto, the man who would save the whole industry from itself. Here's what almost nobody watching that ad knew. Behind the exchange telling millions of people to trust it with their savings, roughly $8 billion of customer money had already been quietly moved somewhere it was never supposed to go. The vault people thought they were paying into was, in the ways that mattered, already empty. This is the story of FTX. And the uncomfortable lesson isn't about crypto. It's about how trust itself can be manufactured and weaponized. Follow the money. To take $8 billion, you first have to become the most trustworthy person in the room. So start with how that was built. Sam Bankman-Fried was, on paper, the perfect custodian. MIT physics degree. A former Wall Street quant. He preached a philosophy called effective altruism, the idea that you should earn as much money as possible in order to give it all away to save the world. He said he was going to give away billions. He drove a beaten-up Toyota. He was photographed sleeping on a beanbag at the office. The message, repeated everywhere: this man doesn't care about money. He can't be greedy, he's in it for humanity. That image was worth more than any marketing budget, because it did something marketing usually can't. It made scrutiny feel rude. Why would you audit the finances of a selfless genius trying to save the world? Then came the trust signals money can buy, layered on top. FTX paid a reported $135 million to put its name on the Miami Heat's arena. It ran those Super Bowl ads with A-list celebrities. It signed the biggest names in sport and film as partners and investors. Blue-chip venture funds poured in nearly $2 billion, and later admitted they did almost no real due diligence, because everyone was terrified of missing the deal. And the masterstroke, Bankman-Fried made himself the friendly face of regulation. He flew to Washington, testified before Congress, met lawmakers, and became one of the largest political donors in the entire country. He positioned FTX not as the reckless part of crypto, but as the responsible adult volunteering to be supervised. Who launders money in public, asking to be regulated? By early 2022, the halo was complete. $32 billion valuation. The trusted grown-up of a Wild West industry. And every layer of that trust, the frugality, the philanthropy, the celebrities, the regulators, was pointing attention exactly away from the one room nobody was allowed to look inside. So let's look inside that room. There were really two companies, and that is the whole trick. One was FTX, the exchange, where ordinary customers deposited their money to buy and sell crypto. The other was Alameda Research, a private trading firm, also founded by Bankman-Fried, that gambled in the markets for profit. In public, they were supposed to be separate, at arm's length, with FTX just a neutral marketplace holding customer funds safely. They were not separate. And customer funds were not safe. When you deposit money at a normal, honest exchange, it's supposed to sit there as your money, segregated, untouchable, there whenever you want to withdraw it. At FTX, prosecutors showed, the customer deposits were funneled to Alameda and used as if they were the company's own chips. And this wasn't an accident or sloppy bookkeeping. It was built into the software. Engineers had written a secret exemption into the code, a special setting that let Alameda withdraw and borrow essentially without limit, and never get automatically shut down the way any other account would. A backdoor, wired directly into the vault. And what did Alameda do with billions of dollars of other people's savings? It made enormous, risky bets. It bought venture stakes and real estate, including a cluster of luxury properties in the Bahamas. It funded political donations. It made huge personal loans to FTX's own executives. The customers' money became SBF's chips to place across the whole board. Now the detonator. A big part of what made Alameda look solvent on paper wasn't dollars, it was a token called FTT, a coin that FTX had invented itself. FTX printed FTT, Alameda held a mountain of it and counted it as billions in assets. But you cannot sell a mountain of your own homemade token without crashing its price. It was collateral that only held its value as long as nobody looked too hard or tried to leave. So there it is, stripped of the crypto vocabulary, an exchange secretly lending its customers' deposits to the founder's own hedge fund, which propped up its balance sheet with a coin the founder printed himself. Not a new kind of fraud. The oldest kind, a bank quietly gambling with the deposits, just faster, and dressed in the language of the future. A machine like that has one fatal weakness: it only survives while people believe. It cannot survive everyone asking for their money back at once. In early November 2022, a crypto news site published a leak of Alameda's balance sheet. And people noticed the thing hiding in plain sight, a supposedly independent trading giant, was propped up largely by FTX's own invented token. The illusion cracked. Then a rival lit the match. The head of Binance, the world's largest crypto exchange, announced he would sell off his company's large holding of FTT. That was the signal. Confidence evaporated, and customers rushed to pull their money out of FTX all at once, a classic bank run, at internet speed. And the vault was empty. FTX could not meet the withdrawals, because the deposits weren't there, they were scattered across Alameda's losing bets, mansions, and donations. The gap was around $8 billion. Binance glanced at the books for a possible rescue and walked away within a day. On November 11, 2022, FTX filed for bankruptcy. $32 billion of value evaporated in roughly a week. Bankman-Fried was arrested in the Bahamas, extradited, and put on trial. His closest lieutenants, including the head of Alameda, pleaded guilty and testified against him. In November 2023, a jury found him guilty on 7 counts of fraud and conspiracy. He was sentenced to 25 years in prison. The John Pierpont Morgan of crypto became a federal inmate. Here's the part that outlives the crypto details. Every layer of trust FTX built was real, expensive, and convincing: the arena, the celebrities, the philanthropy, the testimony. And all of it was decoration on the outside of a vault that had a hole in the floor. The trust wasn't evidence the money was safe. The trust was the product being sold to you so you wouldn't check whether the money was safe. So here's the test for any business that holds your money: a crypto exchange, a bank, a fund, an app with your cash sitting in it. Ignore the founder's story. Ignore the frugality, the mission, the famous faces, the stadium. Ask one boring question instead: is my money kept separate from theirs, and can an independent party actually confirm it's still there? If the answer is a vibe instead of an audit, if the strongest thing on offer is how much you're supposed to trust them, you are looking at the exact shape of every deposit fraud in history. The more elaborately a company performs its trustworthiness, the more worth asking why it needs to. Sam Bankman-Fried didn't fool the world because his scheme was sophisticated. He fooled it because the con was ancient, and the costume was new. $8 billion, gone, behind the most trusted face in crypto. Next week, the first financial bubble in history, a single flower that costs more than a house.